The new Hyundai Santa Fe is going to put a dent in that plan you've hatched to own a premium German SUV. You're allowed to want one still, of course, but it's harder to justify objectively now. And for all you shirt aficionados, check out these melons. Yes! I'm John Cadogan from AutoExpert.com.au, the place where Aussie new car buyers save thousands off their next new cars. Hit me up on the website for that. Coming up in this report, a full road test and assessment of the vehicle out on location, and then we will come back here to the Fat Cave and break down the nuts and bolts of the 2019 Santa Fe model by model. I'll also lay out the key competition strengths and weaknesses and give you all the information I can to help you make an informed choice if you're in the market for a new SUV right now. In coming days, I will also be uploading a detailed assessment of the issues with which you must grapple if you are equivocating right now between this new model and a run-out deal on the old Santa Fe, plus a report on the mad metallurgical voodoo of advanced high-strength steel, which this new Santa Fe is drowning in. And trust me on this is a very good thing for a variety of reasons. To avoid missing those reports over the next few days, subscribe now to this, the most irreverent car review channel in the universe. Hit that subscribe button, do it now, and hammer the bell notification icon thingy too, because not only will that alert you to those new uploads, every click gives me a tiny electrical shock down there in the Fat Cave. And now, back to the Fat Man and his oversized melons on location deep in the uncharted wilderness of Shitsville. Some new models are a giant leap forward, but this fourth generation Santa Fe is more a series of incremental steps in the right direction. Those little steps all add up though, you know, it's kind of like Gestalt theory. The totality of the new car is greater than the sum of all those incremental changes. And the headlines are there's a new 8-speed transmission and a big safety upgrade across the range. Fuel consumption and CO2 are down about 4% and interior space is up. The wheelbase is 65mm longer and that translates directly into cabin space. Not a huge improvement dimensionally, but better. Thankfully, row 3 access is substantially improved as a consequence of smarter ergonomics. The one-touch walk-in switch on the curbside is brilliant. There's a lot more configurability of rows 2 and 3, and row 3 is a lot less claustrophobic now that there's more glass. And here's another important improvement, hidden in plain sight and easy to miss. One of the things you can't really see, I guess it's in your face to some degree, is the advanced high-strength steel in this body. 57% of the structure is now made of it. I guess that's one of the cool things about having your own steel mill. But one of the things you can definitely see, in this case from space, is the, let's be kind, distinctive front end. It's a little bit Kona after the whole Steve Rogers Captain America diet and workout plan. It just says, get out of my way, I'm coming through here, you spanker in a Q7. They spent a heap of the development budget on the interior. It's sensational. Premium German sensational, and don't take my word for it. Get yourself into a $100,000 premium German SUV and make your own determination. When we go back to the studio in just a few minutes, I'll lay out the objective comparison between a $100,000 Audi Q7 and this $60,000 Santa Fe Highlander. Brace for impact over the additional cash you have to splash to option up the Q7 to the point of approximate equivalence with the Santa Fe we're driving today. This variant is the Highlander, and I've had a careful look around, you know. I can't think of a single feature it really lacks. Except, of course, a banjo holder and a rack up the back for Grandpappy's 12 gauge! Aside from that, it's fully loaded. Let's go for a drive. Wholly predictable, Batman. In the dynamics domain, new Santa Fe is incrementally better. Steering, better. Ride and handling, better. New 8-speed transmission, substantially better. Obviously, there's no prizes handed out in automotive engineering if you go backwards. But credit is certainly due when a car company takes the benchmarks of an already good predecessor and they just build on them and make the vehicle better. This is such a comfortable vehicle for long-distance cruising, and the 8-speed transmission is a huge powertrain improvement. There's some incredibly smart software driving the shifting decisions. At times, it's uncanny. It certainly knows when to hold a gear and when to shift. That new transmission is fundamentally what's responsible for the fuel economy improvement. But the big triumph in the cabin is something that might be a bit subliminal, or at least it flies under the radar and is not immediately apparent. Every surface you touch, every control you operate, every switch you flick, somebody has spent the big bucks in R&D making this interior feel properly premium. There's a big safety story with this new model. Across the range from active to Highlander, you get forward collision mitigation with pedestrian and cyclist detection, plus adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert, driver attention alert, high beam assist, and lane keep assist. And maybe you'd expect all that stuff in the Highlander, but having it on active and elite as well means nobody who buys a 2019 Santa Fe is a second-class citizen on safety. The thing about dynamic performance is it needs to be bespoke to the category of car you're in. Performance cars of necessity feel different than family wagons. City cars feel nice and zippy. And 7-seat SUVs have to feel suitably relaxed and comfortable for long-distance drives without feeling absolutely appalling to drive. And on that basis, Santa Fe hits every dynamic benchmark. And so it should. Hyundai spends a great deal of time, effort and resources getting the steering and suspension just right for Australia. The servo motor that gives you power assistance on the steering has been moved from the column to the rack now, which they say is better, and certainly it feels pretty direct. The good news is that the steering weight is selectable via the drive mode, so if you like it somewhat heavy and she likes it light, nobody is going to walk away disappointed. Drive mode selection is standard across the range now, not just in Highlander. Anyone who knows me would tell you that I have OCD for dynamic deficiency. So I'm pleased to report that Santa Fe really doesn't have any. This is a consequence of the local suspension tuning program and also the high-tech metallurgy keeping the monocoque nice and rigid. If you're the driver, this means the vehicle just does what you tell it to, and it is not upset by off-camber bends or mid-corner bumps or things of that nature. If you're looking to uncover any skeletons in the dynamic closet, you're going to be disappointed. I'm trying to warm up to the Highlander's instrument cluster, and I do appreciate its inherent overall cleverness, the cool graphics, the colours match to the drive modes. It's definitely slick. But the tacho is an afterthought. It's like an inconvenience that just had to be accommodated. Kinda like somebody lost a bet. But then perhaps I am just being a... Hey mate, what's that word? It's uncanny how you do that. It's like a Vulcan mind meld. Perhaps I am just being a total hypercritical cock, and not for the first time. I mean, if I have to dredge that deep down to the tacho as my principal objection for the execution of any automobile, you might infer that the rest of it is actually pretty damn good. So let's go back to the studio. We will decompile the model range and the key specifications. I'll give you the somewhat grim news on the pricing, and then you can make an informed decision about whether the 2019 Hyundai Santa Fe is the right new 7-seat SUV for you. The fat man there, flashing those melons enthusiastically in Shitsville. It's how we roll in Australia. Yes. Up front, I should tell you that Hyundai supplied the Santa Fe model range from my assessment over about 2 weeks, but no money changed hands and they have no say in the comment of this report. They're free to detest everything I say about that abomination of a tacho et al. I really don't care one way or the other. This report is my honest personal opinion, and I am not doing it for them, I'm doing it for you. Santa Fe Active is the only one with a petrol engine available, the 2.4 litre 4. That will cost you $43,000 plus on-road costs. You can also get the 2.2 diesel in the Active for $3,000 extra. On the diesel, I never get complaints about Hyundai Kia DPFs. They must have cracked some kooky code there in R&D, and perhaps they could sell that under license to Toyota. Here's the secret sauce. We know you need it right now. The Active includes adaptive cruise control, which is remarkable value for the price when you think about it, plus rear cross traffic alert, forward collision mitigation, blind spot alert, lane keeping assistance, Apple and Android phone integrations, a reversing camera, rear parking sensors, tyre pressure monitoring, and 17-inch alloys. The Elite adds front parking sensors, an 8-inch sat-nav system, leather, proximity key, paddle shifters, power front seats, an Infinity premium audio system, dual zone climate control air conditioning, privacy glass, auto folding mirrors, power tailgate, and 18-inch alloys. That's a lot of extra kit for $54,000 plus on-road costs. The Elite is probably the smart value variant if money is reasonably tight and you need those 7 seats. The Highlander is just packed with all the cool stuff, and so it would want to be for $61,000 plus on roads. And for that, you get the 360-degree camera system, auto parking for parallel and reverse parking, dynamic LED lights, a panorama sunroof, 14 different power adjustments for the driver's seat. Yes! The brilliant instrument cluster with the awful tacho, LED interior lights, heated and ventilated front seats, and heated outboard row 2 seats as well. Plus wireless phone charging, a head-up display, and 19-inch alloy wheels. Okay, so not cheap, but fully loaded. A burger with the lot. There's been a price rise too. The Santa Fe Active is up $1,150 over its predecessor, which is tremendously good value when you factor in the safety upgrades across the range, plus the adaptive cruise control. The Highlander is up $4,000, which is perhaps somewhat harder to swallow. And I'm sure it was an interesting conversation with the factory over the price. If you think importers and the mothership are all on the same team, I think 10 minutes as a fly on the wall during one of those price negotiations would probably set you straight. They hate each other, generally, right across the car industry. Across the range, though, thankfully, Santa Fe has retained the full-size spare wheel and tyre of its predecessor. The tow capacity is maintained at 2,000 kilos, and that's obviously with trailer brakes. In standard form, 100 kilos is the static tow ball download limit, and if you want to boost that, there's a genuine load assist kit, which is essentially a set of variable rate rear springs that increases the tow ball download limit to 150 kilos. This is a well thought out, properly engineered upgrade for heavy towing, and it is completely warranty compliant. The unladen ride quality does not suffer either because the variable rate springs manage to mask most of that. They only stiffen up as you add load. So that's pretty clever. The Santa Fe's all-wheel drive system is called H-Track now, and its operation is drive mode dependent. In sport mode, it's going to shunt up to 50% of the drive rearwards to give you maximum traction under heavy acceleration. Kind of a plus if you're a lead foot and it's raining. In comfort mode, the rear gets up to 35% of the available drive, and in eco mode, the vehicle basically defaults to front drive only to maximise fuel efficiency. You can also lock the drive system manually, 50-50 front and rear for traction-limited off-road situations by hitting a button on the dash. In the context of off-roading though, Santa Fe is at best a light-duty all-terrain vehicle. Dirt roads, no problem, and even some easy tracks and reasonably straightforward mud and sand. You know, ice and snow, it's all going to be okay as long as you are not aiming for the South Pole or something. It's all good, moderate off-roading. But anything truly hardcore or rough, you're probably going to break something. And remember, abuse is not covered by the warranty. You need a full-on all-terrain wagon with low-range gearing like a Pajero Sport for the properly blue singlet off-roading. Beating the wilderness into submission is absolutely not Santa Fe's forte, but mild adventuring with the family, it's going to be okay. Up the other end of the roughing it spectrum, for example, in the cut and thrust of the queue for the kiss and go at that elite private school in eastern Sydney, you probably would not look out of place in a $100,000 Audi Q7. That's what you'll pay for the base model Chitois here in Australia. That German build quality made in Slovakia. It's $40,000 more than the Santa Fe Highlander ballpark. It's actually listed at $97,800 plus on road costs. The Q7's V6 diesel is about 14% gruntier, albeit through a 7-speed auto. Plus, it's a slightly bigger vehicle and it tows more, to be fair. But the wireless charging standard on Santa Fe Highlander adds $500 to the poverty Q7. And this is just the tip of the Q7 option upgrade iceberg. Also standard on the Highlander, but additional on the Audi Q7 are heated and ventilated front seats, $3,450, panoramic sunroof, $3,990, privacy glass, $1,100, and a head-up display projected on the windscreen for a paltry addition of just $3,200. Lane departure and adaptive cruise, which is standard on the Santa Fe Active, adds $3,850 to the Q7 via the assistance options package. Automated parking with front and rear cameras adds $1,300 Q7, and if you want those bumpers fully coloured, and who doesn't, that's $1,300 extra on the Audi as well. Icing on the cake, LED headlamps on the Audi, which Highlander has standard, $4,850. Ouch. All up, to option up to the point of approximate equivalence, you'll be spending almost 25% more than the base price, $23,540 to be precise, for a total of double the price of the Highlander, which admittedly lacks the 4 rings and of course the monkey spanking heritage if you're into that kind of thing. Santa Fe Highlander is not cheap, but if you want the underlying value proposition, just look at the features compared with a hastily tweaked, optioned up 4-ring Touareg from Slovakia, available at just twice the price. Now, perhaps some more economically rational comparisons. Kia Sorento. It's no surprise that this vehicle shares the platform and the diesel powertrain with Santa Fe, so they're kind of dizygotic twins. There's the 2.4 litre petrol 4 in the Santa Fe Active versus a V6 petrol in the Sorento, so that's a key difference. No V6 on Santa Fe, at least not yet. Kia offers a 7-year warranty against the Santa Fe's 5, both with unlimited kilometres for non-commercial use. The Sorento is a little cheaper model for model, but the Santa Fe feels more polished, and I don't know about you, but I like feeling more polished. Mazda CX-9 is slightly bigger and has the most high-tech petrol engine of the 7-seat SUV set, a turbocharged version of the 2.5-litre Atmo engine that you will find in the CX-5. Diesel-like fuel economy there. CX-9 is also quite a polished product, but it's hobbled by both a short warranty and a space-saver spare tyre. And that spare would concern me on long regional trips, or if I was planning on tasking the vehicle with heavy towing, or if I was visiting a remote area. The Toyota Kluger, it's a decent SUV from a leading manufacturer and you get a full-size spare. But once you scratch the surface, you discover that Toyota is the king of mediocrity. Big thirsty petrol V6, no Apple or Android phone integration, plus an anorexic warranty. Kluger is robust, but it would not be my first choice here. Coming up in this 3-part Santa Fe series are separate reports on the mad voodoo of advanced high-strength steel, and I'll also crack the code on whether you should grab a run-out deal on the old model now or hang out for a new Santa Fe at a higher price. Links to those reports are coming up at the end when they actually go live over the next few days. Hyundai is a good company here in Australia. Customer support is excellent, the warranty likewise, and reliability is high. If you land here in Australia from Alpha Centauri next Wednesday at lunchtime, and humanity's ambassador Donald Trump, together with his mascot Stormy Daniels, flanked by the Retardistani neo-Nazi Memorial Kim Jong-un Space Force, yes, they're really nice guys, I'm told. When the Donald hands you a Poverty Pack Q7 and a Santa Fe Highlander as a terrestrial peace offering of sorts, you'd probably conclude that this is a test, and the Santa Fe is actually the premium SUV. My advice, if you're in the market, is drive the CX-9, the Sorento and the Santa Fe and make a choice based upon your particular needs. There's no objectively wrong answer to be found anywhere in that trio. I'm John Cadogan. Thanks for watching.